you kind of exacerbate the sense that he had intentionally changed his skin color with that song?
That was creative and...
Lyrics were kind of rough. Once you were made, you changed your shade. Was your color wrong? Could not turn back. Known fact, you're too far gone. Reconstructed, been abducted, don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way? That he didn't know who he was? That he was...
Basically,
You were mad enough to write these lyrics, but you changed the lyrics before the song was actually released.
Yeah, because I felt that, no, I spoke to him and then I said, Michael, I did this song about you.
So you meant for him to hear this at some point. You meant for him to hear about the song.
I went in my... I kissed him on his forehead and I hugged him and I touched him and I said, Michael, I'll never leave you. You'll never leave me.
Was Mike a ladies' man? Oh, are you kidding me? I used to tell people when they used to say things, he's gay or whatever. I say, no, he ain't. Leave your wife or your girl with him for the day and you'll find out.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Ladies, I'm trying to do my work today. Leave me alone type shit. Ladies, come on.
Jackie's old.
Genevieve, I'm 24 and I have 4 brothers.
And we have one mother, but 2 fathers who happen to be brothers.
Everybody had a Jackson to fall in love with, including my daughter, who married one.
Jermaine called the cops after his wife bit his leg.
How's your leg?
I'm overseas and see what they were doing because it's been some time since they performed on stage and I want to make sure they come off as correctly as they possibly can. I'm going to ride their ass tonight, that's for sure. I'm going to really, really bust their ass tonight and tell them what's going on because this is show business.
And
Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday.
But I know my brother. I don't have to see that documentary. I know Michael. I'm the oldest brother. I know my brother. I know what he stood for, what he was all about, bringing the world together, making kids happy. People that really know him, they know the truth too.
Times when it was very tough, very rough, and 2 people, me being a person that I am, and she being a person that she is, and me being a Sagittarian, she's being a Leo, if that means anything. And I know that I'm tough to live with. And so, me being a Sagittarian, she's being a Leo, if that means anything. But
What
I know that I'm
is going
tough
on
to
in
live
here
with.
on this day?
Guys, I think we need to talk about the Jackson brothers lore, because honestly, there's a lot of it.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today, most of this video is going to be a voiceover, and let me tell you why. I recorded a whole video, a whole separate video. I ended up deleting all of it because as I sat down to edit, I was learning so many other things about Michael's brothers. As you can see, that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about Michael's brothers, just a little bit about, you know, their role in either the Jackson 5 or the Jacksons, their relationship with their brother Michael, and just like little things about their personal life. I wouldn't call this a deep dive, you know, on each brother. It's just kind of getting to know more about the brothers. I feel like with the biopic coming out, maybe some people want to know more about the Jackson family. I can definitely do a video on Michael's sisters as well if you would like me to. I can do that as well if you guys enjoy this video. Before I get into this, I want to thank 2 people, and I also want to give some disclaimers before we get into the voiceover of this video. The 2 people I want to give a shout out are Carrie. We DM on Instagram a lot, and she was talking to me mainly about Michael and Jermaine's dynamics as brothers and like their feuds and disputes and things like that. So I want to give a shout out to her for having a lot of inspiration with this video. She really inspired me to make this video. I also want to give a shout out to this person. I'm forgetting your username right now, so I apologize, but you left me a comment on my community tab. That's what we're doing today. I was originally thinking of doing a video mainly on Michael and his brother Jermaine, because I feel like that is a topic that most of the Michael Jackson community talks about or just people that, you know, have seen the biopic and are learning lore about Jermaine Jackson and Michael's relationship through TikTok and things like that. I do want to say some disclaimers before we start this video. Obviously, I am a huge Michael Jackson fan, but I've never met Michael. I have never met any of the Jackson family. I am just someone that has a YouTube channel that loves Michael Jackson, and I never want anyone to feel like I think I'm like superior or anything like that, and that I know all there is to know, and you know that my answer is always right, because these are my opinions. Some of it's fact. I mean, I'm going to show, you know, factual videos, audio, whatever, pictures. Some of it is facts, but some of it is going to be my opinion, and I may throughout this video give some constructive criticism or just share my opinion on a situation. I don't want this video in any way to come off as me shaming the Jackson family. I want to make that very clear. I feel like the Jackson family gets so much criticism already in the media and from other people online, just because I admire, you know, many things about the Jackson family and many things about Michael. That doesn't mean that I just automatically agree with everything they do, right? I have, you know, my own morals, my own opinions, and this is my YouTube channel and they're public figures, and I will be sharing those things. But I do not want anyone to think that this is me saying I dislike the Jackson family or anything like that. I have things that I feel strongly about, but this is not meant to be like a hate video. I hope I say everything I want to say exactly how I want to say it. I hope this video is done respectfully. If there's anything I need to address, let me know in the comments. Anything I need to change or add, let me know in the comments. But yeah, I'm just here to have a discussion about the Jackson family. Let's go ahead and get into the voiceover, shall we?
One more thing I want to mention before we get into the oldest Jackson. We're going to go oldest to youngest. We'll start with Jackie, of course. One more thing I want to mention that I did not put in my disclaimer is that I think it's important when we talk about the Jackson family in general to remember that they grew up in very different circumstances. You know, a lot of what they went through, I haven't went through myself. And so I think when we talk about how their experiences from their childhood or just being so famous affected them into their adulthood, or just how being in show business and being in the limelight for so many years played out in their life, I definitely think we have to consider that when we talk about the Jackson family. What I'm going to talk about, especially when I give criticism, just know that I am keeping in mind the way that some of the brothers grew up. I mean, some of them were so little being in the limelight. The way that they were is definitely something that can change how you view things and your perspective on things. So I did want to share that before we get into Jackie. So Jackie Jackson, the oldest Jackson. Michael definitely informed us on that.
Jackie's old!
Jackie was born May 4th, 1951. He's currently 75 years old. More recently, he has been known for this particular performance of I Want You Back on TikTok, where somebody captioned the video like this and
What's your sentence for her?
Electric chair.
Now look, he may have been way, way, way taller than all of his brothers. But again, he's the oldest, so that would make sense. And on top of that, he kept up with the group. I mean, look at him go. Period! He's still keeping up regardless of being way taller. Also, shout out to Michael dissing him out of nowhere in Jackie's 6 feet tall, but he can't play basketball. When I think of Jackie in the group, I see him as, I mean, I guess since he's older, this would make sense, just being more of like the father figure. And given the fact that all brothers, as far as I'm aware, have spoken about their relationship with their father Joe and what they faced as children, I do think that Jackie in a lot of ways was a safe place for his brothers, given he was the oldest. And you can just kind of tell in interviews that he definitely looks out for his brothers. He always has spoken very highly of Michael, talking about Michael being the center of the Jackson 5 and how it just made sense. He had so much energy, he was the youngest, and he had so much talent.
My strength, and it's been there for over 22 years.
Michael really is kind of the mainstay of the Jacksons. Has it always been that way? Yeah. Michael has always been sort of the star.
Yeah, he's been highlighted the most because he's the lead singer and he's up front, you know. As a little kid, we put him up front because he danced so much and had so much energy.
Another thing about Jackie that I have to mention that I think is really funny is this particular clip right here. how you feel. It cracks me up. I actually found that relatively recently, and I just feel like this is a reaction meme that I'm definitely going to be using on my channel on a regular basis, because that was literally me when the biopic hit 1 billion, even though the critics said that it would not. Another clip of Jackie that I really love that is more recent is also when he was talking about the biopic and seeing Jafar play Michael and how it felt like he was watching his brother Michael on the screen, and he started crying.
I got so emotional because he became Michael on that screen, and it brought tears to my eyes. I couldn't believe it. He's incredible. Wait till you see it.
That was genuinely so wholesome. So some of Jackie's most insane lore is that his first wife, Enid, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, she's so pretty. They were married from, I believe, 1974 to 1987. And there's actually a wild story. It's never officially been confirmed, I don't think, so I'm going to say allegedly. But allegedly, Jackie was having an affair with Paula Abdul, and the Jackson brothers having affairs is pretty talked about. Not just in the MJ space, but also just online in general. With people posting more about their family lore, it kind of just gets brought up into conversation. But allegedly, Jackie was having an affair with Paula Abdul, who we know choreographed with Janet Jackson. They worked together. Enid allegedly ran over him with her car, which is why I included this clip in the intro, because people were making jokes about it on TikTok. Now, let me just say, if someone is allegedly cheating on you, that can be really disgusting and make you really angry. And I totally understand that. I don't condone cheating at all. Just want to make that very clear. I think if you don't want to be with someone, you need to tell them that you don't want to be with them, rather than being a coward and going behind their back and cheating. And that's just a general statement, by the way, for anyone. I don't care who you are. I will say I wouldn't recommend running people over your car, but I do understand her frustration if that is the case. He actually wasn't able to participate in some of the Victory Tour, and here is a clip from that.
Jackie did not make the concert tour. He is at home in Southern California recovering from knee surgery.
After the Jacksons announced their Victory Tour, it seemed like nothing but chaos surrounded them. Eldest brother Jackie would have to be sidelined due to knee surgery. In his book, You Are Not Alone, Michael, through a brother's eyes, Jermaine wrote, the next brother to be laid up in a hospital bed before the tour began was Jackie. He was at some movie drive-in when he was hit by a car. It busted his knee. He was in the hospital for days with a cast from thigh to ankle. Like Michael, his injury would heal, but, sadly, not in time for him to tour. He was devastated because he knew how special the concerts were going to be. It was a blow for everyone as 6 performers became 5. And I don't think I was the only one wondering if the tour was cursed.
I'll tell you, it's like torture, you know. It's awful to put all the work into it and find out the doctor tells you that you can't go on tour, you know. I knew, and I still know.
After that, he is currently with this woman. They've at least been married, I believe, since 2012. And her name is Emily, and they do have children. Also want to mention, because I didn't say this earlier, he does have 2 children with his first wife as well, and 2 with Emily. Another thing I'm going to talk about a little later in this video is age gap relationships, because I do have some thoughts on that. Some other things to note about Jackie. I do want to say that overall, which this is going to be a common theme in this video, I want to always applaud the brothers and say that, you know, I am so glad that they have always stood by their brother Michael's side. Even when other people turned away from Michael in 2019 and 1993, and you know, when all these allegations surfaced, his brother stood by his side. So, you know, even if I comment on other things that they do that I'm like, what is going on? I will say that they have always defended Michael, and I will always admire them for that, because there were so many people that would throw Michael under the for financial gain. I will say that with the whole MJJ website that Randy and Karen allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, even though I'm pretty sure there are so many screenshots that this website existed, but allegedly Karen Faye and Randy, there were fans that were not given what they paid for, and allegedly they were not paid back for that. When it comes to the allegations themselves, Michael's brothers have stood by him, so I always appreciate him for that, and Jackie is no exception in interviews, of course.
People that really know him, they know the truth too.
Sometimes people call Jackie Old Man Jackie or Papa or all kinds of things like that because he's the oldest, and a lot of people find him very attractive. Like, you don't know how many comments I see where it's like, you know what, that's still Papa. I'm like, but honestly real, because look at the man. I mean, I'm sorry, like, Michael's my man. I'm trying to stay loyal, but like, I will say Jackie has always been fine. I'll give him that. All right. And I also love this picture of him and Michael together. I think this is one of the sweetest pictures ever. And yeah, so overall, what are my thoughts on Jackie? I think he was a great big brother. I appreciate him for always standing on business when it comes to his brother Michael. Definitely agree that he's attractive. This video has become a vocal stem for me in my everyday life. How you feel? How you feel? Another vocal stem is definitely spare me off this course. Okay. Spare me off this course. Love him though. Okay. He was hitting those notes. You can't deny that. There's a little bit about the oldest Jackson, which Michael always let us know.
Jackie's old!
Next, we have Tito Jackson, who, can I just say thank you, Tito, for being the reason that the Jacksons basically became a thing. The Jackson 5, the Jacksons, whatever. Shout out to him for that. And also, rest in peace to Tito. And shout out to his iconic hat. It's so crazy to me that 2 Jackson brothers are gone. So Tito, to me, I honestly feel like anytime I watch an interview of Tito, he's just so real.
Was Mike a ladies' man? Oh, are you kidding me? I used to tell people when they used to say things, he's gay or whatever. I say, no, he ain't. Leave your wife or your girl with him for the day and you'll find out.
I don't know. I feel like he's always just kind of said it how it is. But yeah, he was the second oldest, born October 15th, 1953. And he has had 2 wives. So the first was Dolores. They did obviously have 3 children, and they are part of the group 3T. Now, at the time that this happened, her and Dolores and Tito were divorced. But she actually had a very tragic death. She was at her boyfriend's home at the time, and originally it was ruled as an accidental drowning, but Tito thought that was very strange because she did not swim, and he believed that, you know, there were marks on her and things like that, and questioned if it was accidental or not. And ultimately, her boyfriend has denied any wrongdoing, but he was convicted by a jury, so that's just such a sad situation with his first wife, and then on top of that, his children having to hear about that. And if you're wondering why they got divorced, Dee said, or Dolores said, it was because of infidelity. So he actually had another spouse in 2020. I don't know how I missed this, you guys. I will say that one thing to know about me is that I do keep up with Jackson's content, not just Michael, but, you know, the main stuff I keep up with, as you can tell by my entire channel, is Michael. You know, Michael's always been my favorite Jackson. Out of everyone's music, like, I enjoy his the most. I just gravitate towards Michael naturally. But every now and then I do check in with his brothers. I appreciate all the brothers, you know, for their hard work and dedication as well. But he actually had another wife, and her name is Mizuki, and they actually do have a child. Now, his child's face from Mizuki is all over the internet, but I'm not going to show her face. His daughter with Mizuki looks a lot like him. Honestly, all of his kids, I see so much of him, and all of his children, especially Taj. I know they have a large age gap. It was talked about for sure online. And I will say, although I would personally never be in a huge age gap relationship for several reasons. I know at one time, you know, I mean, for example, my grandma and grandpa were 10 years apart. That was a lot more common at the time, but it still happens today. I guess overall how I feel about it, I personally would not be in a huge age gap relationship. I do think, you know, if it's 2 consenting adults, and they want to get married, they want to have kids. I do think when you have kids, it kind of complicates it a little bit, but I'm going to get more into that in Jermaine's section, probably, of this video. Here are also some funny clips of Tito. So this particular one, I don't really know how y'all will feel about this. I recently did a video on Joe Jackson and my thoughts on Joe. And, you know, a lot of it was me saying that no matter what you go through, no matter what time period it is, you know, what things were like during that time, there's never an excuse to your children, right? To put your hands on them, to yell at them. And if you do those things, you should apologize to your children and change your behavior. Well, Tito, actually, I had never seen this before, but while I was looking up things about Tito, I found this clip with his 3 sons when they were going to go on tour, and he has a belt in his hand. Now, this for me is different than when I talked about the Drewski skit that he did on Joe, because Tito actually went through abuse, right? So for him to make a joke about it, I don't really mind, because he's the one that went through it. Even he was making jokes about the belt and sitting there. And no, he did not actually use the belt. He was just joking. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, y'all let me know how you feel about that. I definitely don't feel as strongly when it is an actual Jackson family member making jokes about it versus Drewski. And I know that actually one of his sons came out on a live stream and talked about it and said he thought the Drewski skit was funny. But again, I feel like Tito actually kind of went through that and saw it with his brothers. So
I thought I'd pop in from overseas and see what they were doing, because it's been some time since they performed on stage, and I want to make sure they come off as correctly as they possibly can. I'm going to ride their ass tonight, that's for sure.
I also want to add, you know, I kind of touch on in this video for this particular comment that was like, you know, can you talk about Michael and his brother's relationship, since the biopic didn't really show a whole lot of that. Tito was actually the first person that Michael called out for when the Pepsi incident happened. In the biopic, Michael and Tito actually look at each other for a second before the incident happens. And so I wondered if that was kind of a nod to Michael calling out Tito's name first when he was burned. Like I said earlier, all the Jackson brothers have stood firmly against the allegations against Michael. And this particular clip, I feel like, is just worded so well, and I really love what he said about Michael here.
Can you tell us who Michael was? What are your thoughts about this?
Like I said, Michael started so young. He started singing with the brothers 5 or 6 years old. We've always felt that Michael was just a different type of person with talent. And he spent most of his childhood perfecting his talent. He never got a chance to own a bicycle or ride a bicycle or play Little League or tag or whatever kids do. When he got a little older, he said, I don't want to ever see a kid to come up the way I did, because I missed out. We'll come over with our kids or whatever, and the brothers be in the corner, you know, talking about our future. And we get mad at Michael because he too busy swimming and having fun with our little children and stuff. But he was just having fun. I guess he was experiencing what he had missed out on it. And he had done this his whole entire life up to where he was. That's why he's so into like Mickey Mouse and all these things. I don't understand that. How can somebody do this or do that? But people don't know. He'll give you every penny in his account if he felt sorry enough for you.
Yeah.
And that's who Michael Jackson was.
I look at my life as somewhat normal. It's not normal, but it's a little normal. But judging my life to his wasn't nowhere close, you know. I don't know if I could enjoy life like that. You know, it gets to a point where it can become almost too much.
And here's a little funny clip of the brothers kind of like going back and forth, bickering, just being funny with each other. And I thought it was cute and wanted to include it and kind of show their dynamics a little bit.
I thought my stuff was taken care of.
No, you're not that slick, brother. Can I slick the slicker?
Tito, what do you like about flying?
What do I like about flying?
Yeah.
I don't like nothing about flying.
I mean,
You give me some wings, I'd rather fly myself. Well, man, the way you ride your mini bike, I don't think you're going to live too long to record another record. And Marlon, well, if you keep on riding like you are, one day you're going to fly right over a mountain.
What were the lyrics?
Well, I don't want to. What are you talking about, Jack and Jill? Together.
What about you, man?
It's taken care of.
Oh, you don't want to tell your secrets? One day I caught you asleep, and one day your hair was braided, and I took some flicks of you when you were asleep.
Show me that picture when you get home.
Jackie, I was watching, you know, every time we do a show, 5 shows a day, there was one chick that came to see every show. I saw you cutting your eyes out there. Is that what you like about New York?
So yeah, I think that's all I've got to share about Tito. So with that being said, let's move on to Jermaine. Hey, Karrie, I know you're watching this, girl. Yeah, me and Karrie have had many conversations about Michael and Jermaine's dynamics. And I feel like a lot of Michael fans do, because I feel like if any relationship is talked about with Michael and his brothers, the most common one is typically Michael and Jermaine's dynamic, particularly because of the diss track that Jermaine did. So we're going to get into that, but let's just read a little bit of basics about Jermaine. So Jermaine was born on December 11th, 1954. He's currently 71 years old, and he has had 3 different spouses. Of course, he has children. He married Barry Gordy's daughter. He ended up staying with Motown. They actually ended up getting divorced. He ended up being with Alejandra. And, yeah, there's a whole story on that. So, yeah, the family tree is definitely interesting. They're basically cousin siblings. I did not realize that.
Genevieve, I'm 24 and I have 4 brothers, and we have 1 mother, but 2 fathers who happen to be brothers.
What? And let me just say, every family, mine included, there's always some kind of lore that's interesting. Not trying to, blame Jafar or Your Majesty or anything like that, because, they just were born. They don't control, how they're brought into this world, right?
I'm the oldest Jackson.
And Tito Jackson.
The swingin'est Jackson.
And Marlon Jackson.
I know he wasn't in that sequence, but a lot of people have said if he was in that sequence, he would be the best Jackson. I will say though, all jokes aside, if they are a happy family, that's all that matters. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. And then he was with Halima. That's where we get this clip.
Source tells ET that Jermaine called the cops after his wife bit his leg.
How's your leg?
I'm fine.
Your leg's fine?
It's better.
I'm in no way condoning domestic violence by any means, but I'm not gonna lie, this clip did make me laugh. I hate to say it, but what do you mean we're out here biting people?
How you feel?
And now he is currently with Madea. I feel like I'm butchering that. And I mean, hey, she's gorgeous. Once again, we've got the age gap going on. She's literally my age. Another thing that has been a talked about topic online, which I hadn't really paid attention to this because I was so invested in Jafar and Giuliano and Nia and Coleman. I obviously knew the brothers that participated in the biopic, they were there. I didn't really pay that much attention to Jermaine, and I'm not trying to be shady, I'm just saying I didn't. But a lot of people were talking about his outfit as well as Madea, and Karrie was like, wait a minute, why is it kind of giving Phantom of the Opera? Hold on, he really is kind of giving I'm here, angel of music. Hey, I see it. Some people thought that their outfits were a little over the top. Now, my opinion on this, would I choose this for a premiere if I wasn't the main actor in it? No. Really, at the end of the day, it's if Jafar didn't care, if the rest of the cast didn't really care, it's then why would I care? It'd be one thing if someone was I feel especially Jafar or Giuliano or something, were oh, I feel the spotlight is being taken from me or something. If they don't feel that way, then I guess it doesn't really matter, right? And I have no idea how they feel, but I also know, that's Jafar's dad, so I'm sure they're cool and fine and everything, but Jermaine also has a very young son right here. And that was obviously a big talked about thing because Jermaine is in his 70s. Since I said earlier I would talk more about age gaps when I got to Jermaine's section. I'm sorry, by the way, it seems like I'm hounding on Jermaine. I promise I'm going to give Jermaine his flowers in a little bit. Okay, this whole video is not a Jermaine roast, I promise. Ultimately, for age gaps, as long as, I said this earlier, but as long as it's 2 consenting adults. But just for me personally, I don't know, if I was 40 years old, for example, dating a 20-year-old, I would feel a little weird about it. I also think that, I think my grandma and my grandpa are a perfect example of this. They were 10 years apart, and that was very common, at that time. As someone that's tried to date someone literally a year younger than me, which is not big of a gap at all. Even I could tell in just a year how different our minds worked, And so that's just a personal preference for me. But I also think when you have kids, if Jermaine's in his 70s and he has his child, I guess it's obvious what will happen. I'm sure that his child will most likely, go to Madea. Not to be morbid, but in my own family, you know, I have family members who are older that take care of very young children. So it's kind of a question of, well, who is the next person that will take care of them? Just a thought. I feel like when you have children at an older age, especially in your 70s, it can complicate things a little bit logistically, but now realistically, I think Jermaine's child is going to be just fine. You know, his youngest child. I think they have plenty of people in the family and resources to help them care for his child if it comes to that. I just sometimes wonder, what do you guys have in common when it comes to age gaps and like just how different your brains are, I guess. But again, like how I feel is not how everybody else feels. And at the end of the day, these are two grown adults who can decide how they want to live their life. And it's not my decision at the end of the day, right? Like they're public figures, so I can comment on it. But I also don't want to be nasty. And I also don't know them personally. So there's only so much I could say, right? Oh, I also got to mention this video right here. What comes after D?
Go, vote.
That made me laugh real hard. Why does it sound like it's so loud that it could literally ruin the ozone layer? As far as him and Michael's dynamic, it's definitely talked about in the MJ space, in general Jackson family space, that a lot of people believe that Jermaine was jealous. I personally agree. Personal opinion, okay?
That's my opinion!
Sure, at this point, he's probably like let that go, I would hope. I mean, his literal son is playing Michael, so I feel like you kind of have to let it go at that point. Basically, once upon a time, Jermaine wrote this diss track to Michael called Word to the Bad, and some of the lyrics in it, you know, here's some of them.
You kind of exacerbate the sense that he had intentionally changed his skin color with that song.
That was creative and
Lyrics were kind of rough. Once you were made, you changed your shade. Was your color wrong? Could not turn back. Known fact, you're too far gone. Reconstructed, been abducted, don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way? That he didn't know who he was? That he was...
Basically, I felt that he was missing something. He wasn't communicating. And what was very hurting to me was the fact that a bit of the communication thing wasn't where it was in it, and I wasn't getting to him as soon as I
You mean he
wanted
wasn't
to.
returning your phone calls?
Well, is it just that he was working on something, and it's really, when you really get down to the bottom of it, it's really not him, it's the people around him.
You were mad enough to write these lyrics, but you changed the lyrics before the song was actually released.
Yeah, because I felt that no, I spoke to him and then I said, Michael, I did this song about you.
So you meant for him to hear this at some point.
There are also people that make videos like this about Jermaine and Michael's quote-unquote beef.
As a staunch Jermaine Jackson hater for years, I'm starting to see the humanity in him. Michael stole his producers and then he didn't even use them. When they were out working with Michael, Jermaine's whole project was like stalled and he didn't know what was going on. He didn't even realize that Michael stole his producers, delayed his album. Like,
all I could say about this, Michael's always been competitive. Period. I'm seeing a lot of sibling rivalry here is what I'm personally seeing. I don't know how y'all feel. I will say that some of Jermaine's lyrics were low blows, like talking, you know, Michael's skin and stuff. That's not okay. Very low blow. But ultimately, Michael did tell him that he did not want to fight, that they're brothers and they need to basically be brothers and be close and not let this tear them apart. So Michael himself, you know, basically forgave Jermaine. And Jermaine, I will say, even though I strongly disagree with this diss track and I see it as distasteful, he was the older brother and he wanted Michael to look up to him, but it's like Michael was just so unlike anyone we've ever seen before. And you know, Jermaine can't help that. Like, that's just how Michael is. I'm not saying Jermaine like lacks talent or anything like that. Yeah, I will say that Jermaine, just like the other brothers, has always defended Michael and spoken very highly of him, and I do appreciate that. I've seen so many interviews where he breaks down crying, talking about Michael, and I do think he really loved his brother.
I kissed him on his forehead and I hugged him and I touched him and I said, Michael, I'll never leave you. You'll never leave me.
Another clip I have to add is Jermaine literally saying verbatim that he ran out of names for his children.
One's name is Your Majesty, who...
Your Majesty?
Yeah, his name is really part of my name, Jerma, then Jesty.
Oh, yeah.
I ran out of names.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
I just can't. Honorable mention video, him talking about being a Sagittarius.
Times when it was very tough, very rough, and two people, me being a person that I am, and she being a person that she is, and me being a Sagittarian, she's being a Leo.
So my final thoughts on Jermaine, I do think he loved his brother Michael so much, despite the whole diss track situation and their beef. I do appreciate him defending Michael even after his death. Thank you for Jafar Jackson. And Jermaine was a true cutie pie. I mean, he was so cute here, let's be real. And one thing I did leave out, because I don't really like to talk about people's appearance. Like, I think commenting on their clothes is one thing, but I don't like to comment on people's appearance a whole lot, because I try not to be mean about that, you know. But a lot of people talk about his hair, and a lot of people don't like it. And would I personally, you know, choose this hairstyle if I was him? No, but it's his hair, so he can decide what he does. But also, can we talk about this picture?
Yeah.
I love this picture so much. New reaction image unlocked. That's all I'm going to say on that. So let's go ahead and move on to Marlon. And Marlon, honestly, diva alert. Hello.
Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday.
Yas Queen, Skinny Legend, Versace boots the house down. Slay Queen, Hunty Mama, and Oop Daddy work. Charlie X, yet snatch my wig.
Marlon always gets down. That's one thing about Marlon. He is gonna get down.
And Marlon Jackson, the dancingest Jackson.
He will be smiling, okay? He's got a beautiful smile, let me tell you. He will chomp at those words. Nothing is funnier than looking at Marlon lip sync to Blame It on the Boogie. Okay, it's hilarious. They're all just cheesing. I think at one point he lip syncs the wrong words. Actually, I think two of the brothers do, and it's so funny. But he was born March 12th, 1957. He's currently 69 years old. If I had to be unloyal to my man, that is my man in my head, because I'm living in delusion.
Delusion. Convince yourself.
Jackie, Marlon, and Randy sometimes. Yeah, I'm looking. Marlon is fine. And again, who is this diva? But yeah, Marlon is really funny. He honestly cracks me up, and I feel like I could just have a conversation with this man.
Oh, that's so sick.
Sing like Brooke Benton.
7 or 5?
7. That he know of.
Jermaine lives out of the country now, right, Jermaine?
Calm down, Marlon.
He just seems pretty real, honestly, especially in this interview where an interviewer was getting it all wrong about Michael, and he quickly was ready to defend Michael.
And I wonder, we've learned that he was in a bad place. How did you know?
Repeat yourself
Yeah,
again.
you learned it.
Have to remind myself, because it's not really talked about a whole lot. I know that Marlon has mentioned this brother before, but he had a twin brother, which, again, not going to talk about this that much because it is really sad, that unfortunately passed away when he was born, and his name was Brandon. And so that's really sad. Him and Michael just look so cute on stage together. I mean, come on. They were like about the same height. They were always just, they just seemed like they had a really special bond. You know, they always seemed rather close to each other because, again, similar ages. And I do want to say this here that, you know, with all the Jackson brothers, I kind of briefly mentioned this, I believe with Tito, because I mentioned, you know, Tito holding the belt. Well, Michael has said that he believed Marlon got it the worst.
I got it a lot of times, but I think my brother Marlon got it the most.
And that's really sad. He mentioned that. He said Marlon would struggle sometimes and Joe would really take it out on him. I just want to say, you know, I talk a lot about Michael, you know, physical things he suffered from as well as the mental things. Like, that's another thing. I know somebody left this comment and they were saying, I know we talk a lot about the physical of the brothers, but it's important to mention the mental effects as well. And I highly agree with that, because some people view like physical abuse as worse or, you know, what really needs to be the focus. But the mental effects are devastating as well, and that definitely needs to be addressed. I really do feel for Marlon in a lot of ways, and I genuinely hope, you know, he's taking care of himself and he's okay. And I just feel like him and Michael's bond was special because they were so close in age. Another thing, Michael Jackson fans, or just Jackson fans in general, they always mention that Marlon has been hella faithful. He's been hella faithful. Again, we talk about, you know, alleged affairs or affairs that have happened in the Jackson family. Looking at you too, Joe. I mean, look at his beautiful wife. They are a beautiful couple. You know, they had children together. So shout out to Marlon for that. Now that's true diva energy.
Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday.
Here is my one Marlon critique, and it pains me to say this, okay? I remember when this happened. So this involves Marlon and Randy. Some people that I follow or I'm mutuals with are from the UK, and they were educating people on what is this event that they're at. It is a far-right event. I just feel like at this point with a lot of far-right organizations, really just politics in general, there's a lot of corruption going on both sides. I agree with that. But the far-right, especially here in the US. Now, I know this was for a UK event, but as someone that lives in the US, I can tell you right now that a lot of far-right organizations are doing way more harm than good. And I don't support them. I would never endorse this. And I've heard very similar things from mutuals of mine who live in the UK and were really upset that Marlon and Randy would choose to perform here because it wasn't, you know, forced on them or anything. They chose to do it. And I have to agree that I don't think it was a good idea. The song they performed, Can You Feel It, which is just so ironic. This is from MJ Vibe. I love their website, and I feel like they basically took the words right out of my mouth. So it just says, you know, fans of Michael Jackson and the Jacksons are voicing outrage after Marlon and Jackie performed at this conference in the UK, a far-right political group widely criticized for spreading division and intolerance. Social media has been flooded with disappointment and disbelief, with many questioning why members of one of music's most legendary families chose to lend their voices to such a controversial event. And yeah, it just says the performance left many fans wondering whether the Jacksons have lost sight of the values that their music and Michael's legacy in particular have always stood for. The irony of the set list was not lost on the fans. Can You Feel It, co-written by Michael and Jackie Jackson, is a timeless anthem of unity and peace, declaring, when hate won't do, because we're all the same. Yes, the blood inside me is inside of you. For decades, the song has stood as a symbol of hope and equality. Its use in the setting, however, felt painfully out of place. To see it performed at an event aligned with exclusion and hate is something many believe Michael himself would have been deeply saddened by. And I know that something that gets brought up a lot with the Jackson family is that, you know, they grew up as Jehovah's Witnesses. And I'm aware that, you know, I know Michael's spoken about it. And, you know, in the Michael movie, like I'm showing on the screen, this scene was supposed to be in there, but got cut of them, you know, going to door, Catherine and Michael. I understand that. I am a huge believer in separation of church and state. And I think that is the ultimate answer to make everyone happy. Unfortunately, I feel like these far-right organizations, the problem I have with them is that they are forcing their conservative beliefs and ideologies onto people that do not want that, like myself. And the thing is, I don't mind if you personally are conservative, but I do take a huge issue when you take away laws that are protecting people or put laws into place that are harming people, especially minorities. So yeah, holding the beliefs is one thing to perform at an event, and I've looked at their website and seen their policies. Yeah, I definitely feel some type of way about it. So yeah, I mean, you know, I did give Marlon some criticism as well as Randy, who we're about to get into. But overall, you know, I do feel for Marlon in a lot of ways. I think a lot of clips of Marlon are very funny, especially the ones going around on TikTok right now, like this one. There's just a lot of great content of Marlon online right now, and you know, him and Michael's dynamic, I really admire and appreciate. And yeah, so that's just a little bit on Marlon. And now let's get to the final Jackson, Randy Jackson, not to be confused with the Randy Jackson of American Idol, because fun fact, one of my friends literally thought Randy Jackson on American Idol was one of Michael Jackson's brothers at one time.
It's a no for me, dog. I don't think it was.
What's that lady in that Carly that loves him? Miss Briggs? Sorry, Miss Briggs. We're talking about the other Randy Jackson if you're watching right now. He was born October 29th, 1961, and he is the youngest Jackson brother. And I am going to say this, talking about Randy kind of makes me a little sad, because I will say that I feel like when you look at the Jackson family and of course the Jackson brothers, you can kind of see how their childhoods and growing up so famous, or just being in the limelight, dealing with the fame, how that affected each of them to an extent. I feel like all of them were affected in different ways, because even though they're all brothers, they're all their own individual, you know what I mean? Not excusing his behavior. I definitely have a hard time talking about Randy sometimes, because I feel like Randy has definitely had a lot happen in his life, and some of those things are not great whatsoever. So the fandom definitely has, you know, the Michael fandom, the Jackson fandom, they definitely have a lot of opinions on Randy, good and bad. Now, when it comes to Randy and Michael's dynamic, when Randy joined and, you know, Jermaine stayed with Motown, he just seemed so excited to be there. And Michael, I think, was also excited because he was no longer the youngest brother. Randy was a part of the group. Michael definitely took him under his wing a little bit. And I think he really wanted to look out for Randy since he was now the youngest brother. And Michael knew what it felt like to be the youngest brother. So I feel like their bond was very important, especially when Randy first joined and he was so little.
Well, sometimes I come in late, but not all the time.
Oh, listen at this.
Randy, what do you do?
Well,
Do you have any hobbies?
Sure. Michael, he has a rock collection,
Mm-hmm.
and so I added some rocks.
I'll be doggone. Randy, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. No, that's interesting. A kid that has rocks is
really
okay.
doing it? You're
All right,
doing
now
great.
I know.
Okay, but why would he even say that to a child? I'd be mad too if I was Michael. Honestly, there was just some, what's the word, tomfoolery going on with Randy and Michael, as well as just Randy in general. But especially, we got this iconic clip we can't forget.
How close are you? Put me waist up. Promise? Promise.
Promise?
Promise.
I believe it. How close are you? Like this? Or can you see chest? What a schmuck. Back up. Ah, diddly.
Arise all the world and behold the kingdom!
Randy! Do me a favor, Randy. Don't sing those songs. But we're supposed to. Randy, why are you singing these? Those songs are old. I have to get those songs when I started. Do you all want to hear those songs? See, the reason why I want to do those songs, they're old, the choreography is old.
Jackie's old!
On a more serious note, Randy was involved in a very serious car accident and he could have potentially lost his life, but he did survive, even though he had a lot of injuries. Randy also, as far as I'm aware, he is still working with Janet with Rhythm Nation Records, which I believe was founded in 2018. There was a time where this picture was all over the internet. Now I honestly don't really see it that much. I actually don't even remember exactly where I found this, probably Reddit somewhere. But yeah, this picture, I don't know if it was deleted on a story. I was not there the actual minute it was posted, but I remember it circulating all over Twitter. I don't really feel like I need to explain how I feel about this based off of what I said about Marlon and Randy earlier. Since this was posted a few years ago, at least is what I remember, I don't know if Randy has changed his thoughts and opinions since then, but I will say that choosing to support the movement really ever, but especially in 2026, that is definitely a choice, and it's not a choice that I can respect in any way. Honestly, with Randy, it's like anytime you go online, you find so many things about his life. Like in this book, Remember the Time, Protecting Michael Jackson on His Final Days, this was from one of Michael's bodyguards. And in there, it says that Randy actually rammed the gates with his car at Michael's home in Las Vegas, and that he was demanding money from Michael. Unfortunately, Randy also has domestic violence charges, which, like I said, with Jermaine and one of his wives, I definitely don't condone domestic violence. anyway, so that is just horrible. Of course, Karen Faye and him had a website at one time, and there's screenshots of the website like I showed earlier, but allegedly fans had bought this exclusive content that was going to be on it, and then when it didn't happen, they were unable to get their money back, allegedly. One thing I definitely need to mention going back to the domestic violence charges is that allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly here, even though there are screenshots of Randy's Twitter, but screenshots can be doctored, and since I don't follow him, I can't confirm if this is like an official screenshot, but if you guys were or have seen this tweet in real time, let me know. But allegedly, one of Randy's exes actually went to Tina Turner's house, which I love Tina Turner so much, but that's another story. But she went to Tina Turner's house, and Tina Turner allegedly shot Randy when he was trying to approach her home. So there's that. And I guess because I don't want to end on such a horrible negative note for Randy, I mean, I definitely have my thoughts and opinions about him, as you can see, and many other people in the Jackson fandom do as well. I will say that I really enjoyed this interview because, like I said, with the other brothers, Randy has defended Michael. I definitely think there were moments in their relationship where things weren't great, just like with Jermaine. Some of it I feel, sibling rivalry, especially for Michael and Jermaine. Some of it was money issues and just with any family, really. And I'm not saying this to excuse terrible behavior, but I'm saying with any family, there's usually always some kind of family, what's the word I'm looking for? Family, I guess, turmoil going on.
His show is a very intense show. It's a great show. It's a lot of work. He has to get rest. He has to eat right. When you're under such pressure, performance and having to work so hard for thousands of people, you don't want to hear negative things sometimes.
And one more thing about Randy, Jermaine leaving the group, him joining the group, him being the youngest, him, the other brothers kind of have an idea of how everything works, and he's having to learn everything, and that's got to be a lot of pressure. So I will say, I do feel for him in that regard when he was very little, knowing Joseph. Who knows how that went, that transition. I believe there's actually a phone call somewhere of Michael talking about it. I won't play it, but I believe he mentions that Joe would say, oh, you got to be better than Jermaine, like you're not as good, and kind of putting Randy down when he joined the group. So that's really upsetting, especially for a child to hear. So that's really sad. But yeah, we are almost at an hour at this point, I think. So I really need to stop talking.
Shut the up.
Overall, it's really interesting to see how each brother's childhood experiences and them being in show business and just being in such successful groups, whether it's the Jackson 5 or the Jacksons, how that has impacted each brother and how they live their lives. There's some similarities, but there's also a lot of differences between the brothers, personalities, career paths, and personal life choices. I really hope that this video, even though I do have some criticisms, I also wanted to share some more lighthearted, funny things that I like about each brother. But yeah, I think that's all I've got to say. I've talked long enough. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this video was fair, and I feel like it's fine to give criticism without being straight up hateful. But yeah, that's what I've got to say. My next video, guess what? My Michael Dollar. Oh my god, Mini Michael is here. So get ready for a video with him because I have been having a blast with him, as you can see. Yeah, we have been having way too much fun, but I'm so excited to have him finally. Let me know your thoughts. If you want to add anything or want to tell me about anything I mentioned in my video, feel free to comment below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.